Hey, hey, it's Christina K coming at you here on YouTube with another writing tip on how to write your best book. Today's topic, as you can see from I can never remember. Is it below or up? Whatever. You can see it from the heading. We're going to talk about genres. Now, first off, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I already know what genre my book is. What is there to talk about? Aha, but there is stuff to talk about and the reason I'm doing this episode is because of the last 4 or 5 projects I've gotten in my inbox this week. 4 or 5 of them have not had either they didn't know and they admitted, I don't know exactly what genre my book is, or they thought they knew, and then once I read it, I was like, you don't know. You have no idea. This is not your genre. Now, it's not their fault, and they're not doing something wrong. They just don't know. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about. So we're going to clear up the whole genre thing. Let's start by talking about the difference in category and genre. Okay, so category is what the age group is and the demographic that your book is going to be written under. Now, obviously, we've already decided whether it's fiction or nonfiction. That's done. We're dealing with fiction. Sorry, get over it, nonfiction people. So, you have a fiction novel. A fiction novel is redundant. You have a fiction book, and you're going to try to figure out what your genre is. Well, first, let's make sure you've discovered what your category is. Are you writing children's book, middle grade, young adult, new adult, adult? So that's what you got to figure out first, and that's important too. But once you've nailed that down, because that's a whole nother lesson, you need to figure out your genre. Now that we've established who's going to be reading it, let's talk about how to pick your genre. And first off, what is a genre? Those are the categories of books written in similar form, style, or subject matter. And some of the most popular genres include romance, fantasy, suspense, thriller, sci-fi, paranormal, and mystery. There are more. Don't comment and say, oh, you left off women's fiction or magical realism or whatever. Okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, actually, magical realism falls under fantasy, but you know what I'm saying. It's important that you identify which genre your book belongs to for many reasons, and I'll dive into that here in a minute. But why do we have to identify our genre before we even start writing? Because I believe you should do it before you start writing. First, it's important early on in your writing career to establish your brand. Readers need to know what to expect from you from one book to the next, and you don't want to build an audience of readers based on one genre of a book and then switch it up and write a completely different genre, at least under the same name. Why is that? Think of it from the reader's point of view. Let's say you're a huge Colleen Hoover fan. Colleen writes romance novels, usually with a twist of mystery included in the plot line. If you loved her first 1, 2, 3 books or more, and you're anxiously awaiting her next release, then it comes out and it's a high fantasy novel. Imagine how confused you'd be. Maybe you don't like high fantasy, or maybe it's as simple as the fact that you love her stories and you're disappointed that this new book is nothing like the others. You can let your readers down. You can't let your readers down or confuse them. Readers can be fiercely loyal to their favorite authors, but we have to be just as loyal to them, guys. Also, think of it this way. Like, for example, I write thrillers and suspense. What if I said I'm writing these books, but yet my brand on my website, all my branding images and like my logo and everything was daisies and pink cursive font? That would not match, right? So that's another reason that you need to know. Another reason why is regarding choosing your genre is that there are different rules and different elements that must be included in a story depending on its genre, including the manuscript length, character types, setting, theme, viewpoint, even plot. Another thing you may be thinking right now is, how do we define and confirm that our book is in which genre? Ask yourself this question. If I were to walk into a bookstore and find my book on the shelf, which book would it be next to? Would it be next to Nicholas Sparks or Colleen Hoover? Then it's most likely going to fall into the romance genre. Would it be next to George R.R. Martin books from the Game of Thrones series? I know it's not called the Game of Thrones series. Don't comment on that either, but that's what I call it. then it's probably a fantasy novel. Would it be next to Stephen King? Horror. Twilight? Paranormal. Hunger Games? Dystopian. Starting to get the idea here? That's the how of how you identify your genre. Keep in mind, beneath each genre are also subgenres. Take romance, for example. There are dark romances, contemporary romance, sweet romance, motorcycle club romance, and one I'm just learning about, even as an editor and author, and an editor who's worked in romance for many years. Reverse harem. That's a thing. Yeah. So, and it is what it sounds like it is. Reverse harem. Anyway, I could go on and on. If you can also identify the subgenre of your story, you need to do that as well. So as you know, books can first be divided into two types, fiction and nonfiction. For purposes of this discussion, we're only talking about fiction, though some of the rules and advice I'm talking about kind of apply to memoirs too. Now that you know you're working on fiction and you know you've picked your genre, you need to pick your subgenre, if applicable, which most books should have a subgenre. Here's a list of some common subgenres. So take romance. The subgenres would be contemporary, sweet, dark, motorcycle club, etc., like I already mentioned. Suspense and thriller. You've got domestic, psychological, legal, medical, political, all right, and on and on. Mystery/crime. You've got sleuth, police procedurals, detective novels, cozy mysteries. Paranormal. You've got ghosts, vampires, werewolves, demons, witches. Take your pick. Historical. You've got Western, romantic, political, medieval, and so on. Under sci-fi, you've got space opera, cyberpunk, steampunk. You get the picture. And then fantasy, you've got high fantasy, low fantasy, urban fantasy, contemporary, historical. It could go on and on. Portal, I think the new one I've learned about the other day is portal fantasy. I guess that's where they go through a portal, time travel. Now, yes, there are other genres of fiction I did not list here. So I know I'll get comments, hey, you forgot about women's fiction, magical realism, speculative, dystopian. I could go on and on. But I want to focus today on the most common genres and subgenres. So now, if you're watching this now and you're starting to panic and think, OMG, I have not really thought about this and I'm almost done with my book, or I'm done with my book, and so now I've really screwed up. No, you haven't. What I want you to do, whether you're just starting or whether you are halfway through your book or whether you're done, pick your genre, identify your genre, pick out which one is your subgenre, and then I want you to do the research. I could tell you the rules. I know most of the rules for most of the genres. I have to as an editor and a coach. However, that would take 2 or 3 hours. And I promised to only deliver 10, 15-minute YouTube videos, so I can't do that. And we're almost at 8 minutes. So basically what I want you to do is I want you to identify your genre, and then I want you to go online and do some research. Just type in rules of writing for sweet romance or rules of writing cozy mysteries. You will find at least a few articles on every genre and subgenre you can think of. As a matter of fact, if you go to our website, writeyourbestbook.com, we have an author resources page, and that's got what it sounds like. Plenty of resources for authors. We've got blogs you can look at to find stuff like that, like Jane Friedman is connected to us. The Creative Pen, we've got her connected on there. Creative Indie, Derek Murphy. All those people have great blogs. Elizabeth Spann Craig, she is the person to go to for cozy mysteries. All those people are connected to us. So you can find their blogs and find that information through our website, or you can just Google them. But find your genre. Then I want you to read the rules about it. And then if you've already finished your book, no biggie, just go back through and see where you can add that element that may be missing. If you haven't started yet, great. Make sure you include those elements that any genre must include. And that's all the time we have for today, folks. But before I close out, I want to tell you about something really cool that we just added to our website. And I'm hoping and praying you'll do me a huge favor and go check it out. I created a complete quiz survey, whatever you want to call it, for everybody to fill out. Now, this is not an obligation. There's no obligation tied to it. You're not signed up as my client. You're not even going to be on my email list. Now, I will send you a confirmation email that you did the survey, And thank you for your time, but that's it. Unless you want to be on my email list, you don't have to be. This survey, all it does is it helps me gather information on what authors are struggling with, what I can help them with, and what your specific book needs are if you do want help. If you don't want help, that's fine. Still do the survey. All you have to do is go to writeyourbestbook.com and then go on over to the Contact Us page. We're thinking of moving it to the home page, but right now it's on the Contact Us page. So either or, you'll find it there. So I think it takes less than 3 minutes to fill out the whole survey. It's fun, it's quick, it's easy. It's kind of interesting because you get to, questions pop up and you type in the answer and enter, and then another question pops up. It's really, really cool. It's this new program I found called Typeforms. I love it. So do that for me, and we won't talk about any other coaching and editing and all that stuff. Y'all hear plenty of that as it is. This is all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for your time. I look forward to the next YouTube video, and in the meantime, go write your best book. Bye, guys.